Are you tired of knowing exactly what you need to do, but not doing it? Have you ever sat there, staring at your screen, knowing you should be working, knowing you should be taking action, but instead you're scrolling, you're cleaning your room, you're doing literally anything except the one thing that actually matters? Yeah, me too. We've all done it, let's be honest. In this video, my goal is to share with you all the strategies I personally used to go from being a serial procrastinator who couldn't get anything done no matter how hard I tried to discipline and motivate myself, to becoming so consistent and disciplined, I've grown my business as high as $2,600 a day in profit. Look, the real reason you can't stop procrastinating isn't because you're lazy or weak-willed. It's not because you need another productivity app or a better planner or a new morning routine. Procrastination is an emotional problem, and until you understand that, you're going to keep fighting the wrong battle. You don't avoid working on your business because you don't have time. You avoid it because when you think about it, something uncomfortable comes up. Maybe it's fear that you'll fail. Maybe it's doubt that you're good enough. Maybe it's just good old boredom because the task isn't exciting. Your brain feels that discomfort and it immediately goes into escape mode. It starts looking for relief. And what gives you instant relief? Your phone, YouTube, reorganizing your desk for the 4th time this week. Anything that makes that uncomfortable feeling go away right now. I stopped being undisciplined and procrastinating once I understood this simple principle. You're not avoiding the work. You're avoiding a feeling you don't like. It could be fear, discomfort, or even pain. Once you realize that, you start having leverage, because now you know what you're actually dealing with. The goal isn't to wait until you feel motivated or inspired or ready to take action. The goal is to act despite the fear and discomfort. Can you do the thing even when it feels boring or scary? Even when your brain is screaming at you to do something else, something easier? Because I promise you, every successful person you admire has felt that same resistance, and the only difference is they kept moving anyway. If you want to discover how I've made thousands of dollars a day online, I've made a free training that will show you everything step by step. The link will be in the description. And for a limited time, you can also apply to book a free call with me or a member of my team. On that call, we'll see what's blocking you from making more money, and we'll give you a custom step-by-step plan so you can start your business today, even with $0 in startup capital, and get your first customers as quickly as possible. The link is in the description, but be quick because we have very limited spots and they fill up fast. Now, here's where most people get it completely backwards. They sit around waiting to feel motivated before they start. They think motivation comes first, then action follows. Well, that's not how it works. It's literally the opposite of how it works. Action creates motivation, not the other way around. Motivation is the result of doing something and seeing results from it, not the cause. Just think about this. Have you ever noticed how the hardest part is often just starting the thing? But once you're 5 minutes in, 10 minutes in, suddenly it's not that bad. Suddenly you're in flow. That's because momentum creates the feeling you were waiting for. I've rarely quit a workout once I actually started it. The resistance is always strongest before you begin. I used to dread sales calls, for example. My stomach would knot up. I'd feel that familiar anxiety creeping in. But here's the thing. That fear only lived in the moments before I started the Zoom call. The second I started chatting with the lead, I'd drop into a flow state, the conversation would start moving, and suddenly I wasn't scared anymore. I was just present. So always remember this. Starting is the hardest part. Once you're in motion, momentum carries you. And suddenly it's easy. Your brain stops overthinking and you just do what you need to do in the moment. The fear doesn't disappear because you conquered it in your mind before taking action. That's not how it works. It disappeared because you moved through it. You felt the fear and did the thing anyway. So stop negotiating with yourself about whether you're ready. Just start. Stop waiting to feel ready because you never will. Lower the barrier so much that starting feels stupidly easy. It should feel like it's beneath you. Don't tell yourself you need to work for 2 hours. Tell yourself you'll work for 5 minutes. Don't say you're going to write a whole chapter. Say you won't write the first sentence. Because once you start, your brain kicks into gear and usually you don't stop. Look, I need to be real with you for a second. I used to be incredibly ambitious, like I had all these big dreams and these goals written down, but I was absolutely terrified. Terrified of failing, terrified of being rejected, terrified of putting myself out there and just looking stupid. So you know what I did? Nothing. I sat on the sidelines for 7 entire months around 2021, 2022, just waiting for the perfect moment to start my business, waiting to feel ready, waiting for some magical signs. And during those 7 months, I could have been making progress. I could have been signing clients, building my business. I could have been making sales. But instead, I wasted all that time because I was trapped in my own head. The shift only happened when I realized something crucial. The stories I was telling myself were complete BS. I wasn't actually afraid of failure. I was afraid of the story I created about what failure meant. So the moment I started rewriting those internal narratives, the moment I stopped letting fear dictate my decisions, everything changed because I finally started taking action consistently. And that's when I made real progress. Here's another trap that keeps you stuck. Your brain loves to confuse endlessly planning with making actual progress. When you sit there researching, making lists, organizing your notes, planning out your strategy, your brain releases dopamine. It feels like you're accomplishing something. It feels productive. But you're not moving forward. You're just thinking about it. I see this all the time. People literally spend weeks planning their business, their content, their project, and they feel busy. They feel like it's working, like they're productive, but nothing's actually happening and they're not making any money. That's simply procrastination wearing a disguise. It's sneaky because it looks like work, but it's keeping you stuck in the same place. If you actually want to be able to get shit done and build a successful business, you need to separate thinking from doing. Give yourself 5 minutes to plan max, then force yourself to take action. Open the document, make the call, write the first sentence, record the first 10 seconds, whatever it is you need to do. But do something that moves the needle forward in the real world, not just in your head, not on a planning doc. Only real world actions count as progress. Everything else, I'm sorry to say, is just mental masturbation. It feels good, but it doesn't create results. If you want to discover how I've made thousands of dollars a day online, I've made a free training that will show you everything step by step. The link will be in the description. And for a limited time, you can also apply to book a free call with me or a member of my team. On that call, we'll see what's blocking you from making more money, and we'll give you a custom step-by-step plan so you can start your business today, even with $0 in startup capital, and get your first customers as quickly as possible. The link is in the description, but be quick because we have very limited spots and they fill up fast. Procrastination is nasty. It loves friction. It feeds on those tiny little barriers that make a task feel heavier than it actually is. You know what I mean? Your workspace is so messy, so you have to clean it before you start, which is only an excuse to procrastinate. Your phone's right there, so you keep checking it. You can't remember what you were supposed to do, so you have to go find your notes first. All of these little things might seem harmless, but in reality, they're just excuses your brain is using to not do the work. Instead, we want to reduce friction for the things you should be doing. Keep your workspace always ready to go and clean. Have your project file open on your computer before you even sit down. Write your most important task for the day on a sticky note and put it somewhere you can't ignore it. And increase friction for distractions. For example, put your phone in a drawer in another room. Log out of social media. Make it harder to do the easy things and easier to do the hard things. You're not trying to have perfect discipline or perfect willpower. You're just designing your life so that doing the right thing is actually the path of least resistance. Just by doing this, you will see that your productivity increases significantly. Now, here's something nobody talks about, but it's critical. Every time you tell yourself you're going to do something and then you don't do it, you're training your brain not to trust you. Think about that. Every broken promise you make to yourself erodes your self-trust. That's why doing anything feels impossible now. Your brain literally doesn't believe you anymore. You've said you'd start 100 times and you didn't. So why would this time be any different? You have to rebuild that trust, and you do it through micro commitments. Make promises so small you can't possibly break them, like 5 minutes of work, 1 sentence written, 1 page read. Keep that promise and do it again tomorrow and the next day. You're not trying to transform your life overnight. I've tried plenty of times, believe me, and every time I just smacked my head against this invisible wall. The goal is to prove to your brain that when you say you'll do something, you actually mean it. Once your brain starts believing your word again, procrastination loses its power. Because now, when you say I'm going to start, your brain doesn't argue. It just knows you will and it's a fact. Last thing, and this might be the most important, stop negotiating with the voice in your head. That internal debate, the should I do it now or should I do it later, the back and forth, that's the trap. That's where you lose. Successful people don't win that argument. They stop having it. When the thought I should do it later starts to appear, they act immediately. Before their brain has time to build a case for waiting, before the excuses show up, before the fear gets loud. That hesitation window is your enemy. That gap between the moment you think about doing something and the moment you actually do it, that's where procrastination lives. That's its home. The only way to beat it is to shrink that gap down to nothing. Make action automatic, not optional. See, when you hesitate, you're giving your brain permission to talk you out of doing the thing. And your brain is really good at that. It knows all your weaknesses. It'll find every reason why later is better, why you're not ready, why you should wait. Why you don't have enough resources to start now? Don't give it the chance. It's exactly like jumping in freezing cold water. Waiting longer isn't gonna make the water any warmer, but it'll make you feel like shit for longer. Look, I'm not going to lie to you and pretend that this is easy. Being disciplined is not easy. Taking action when you don't feel like it is uncomfortable. But here's what I know. The discomfort, it's temporary. The regret of not taking action, now that lasts way longer. Every day you wait is another day you're not building the life or business you actually want. Another day someone else is taking the action you're avoiding. Another day your future self is paying for your current comfort. You already know what you need to do oftentimes. You've always known. The information isn't necessarily the problem. The execution is. Stop planning endlessly. Stop waiting for the perfect moment or the perfect mood or the perfect plan. None of that exists. What exists, however, is right now, this very moment. Your potential isn't limited by your circumstances or your resources or your background. It's limited by your willingness to feel uncomfortable and do the thing anyway. So what's it gonna be? Are you going to keep having the same conversations with yourself 6 months from now, making the same excuses? Or are you going to close this video and take one action right now to improve your life? It's up to you. If you'd like me to personally help you to build a profitable online business and reach financial freedom as quickly as possible, check out the free training I made for you in the description below. And you can also apply to book a call with me or a member of my team, and we'll help you implement everything step by step. With that being said, I'll see you on the other side.